How has COVID-19 pandemic impacted sponsorship behind the walls? As Sam said, we have had fewer letters coming to our mailbox. Overall, less contact from the state prison facilities. They have a pandemic to deal with. We had wondered if, because they were quitting in-person programming, maybe we would see an increase. We're still not super high on our priority list. And for us as a work group, we have always been a virtual work group. So our way of meeting and functioning has not changed at all. We continue to hold online sponsor orientations. We used to hold in-person orientations at functions, events, regional conventions, area conventions, and we've suspended that for the time being. But we're still able to bring on new sponsors, retrain current sponsors through the virtual orientations. So in some ways, things have, other ways, we have still been able to function and adapt, and will continue to be here during and after the pandemic. So, you know, we go with the flow. So anyways, I think that is all for our presentation part.
Tony, we got Kristen. I'm going to unmute her.
Kristen. Okay.
Go ahead, Kristen.
Hi, all. My name's Kristen. I'm an addict from the Shawnee region, St. Louis, Missouri area. And my question is, so we have what's called Writing Steps to Recovery. This is something that our region had made the decision. And again, like, it's been far too long ago for me to even remember, like, did a region make the decision, or was this the subcommittee? But my question has to do with the term sponsorship. Our committee had switched from the sponsorship to just writing steps for recovery, simply for the reason of what that sponsorship implies. And then also with addicts who are also doing service for H&I, you know, what that means for them going into the institution.
Hey, Kristen, they're asking you to slow down. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, guys, I am so sorry. My apologies.
Okay.
You know, so my question, I guess, really is did you all think of that term sponsorship and the importance of, I guess, the impact that would make? And have you all had any issues with those members in your fellowship who are also doing H&I being able to help provide that service?
So my name is Tony. I'm an addict. So sponsorship behind the walls, the title, I believe was, I don't know who actually came up with the title, but that's just how I was introduced to it. I can understand why they would question, why do you use the word sponsorship? I just think that it was probably the most easy to explain what we were trying to accomplish. And then the second, if I understood your question, was members that are going inside, how do they participate in sponsorship behind the walls? And I kind of reiterated, I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. They kind of frown upon you if you go into an institution and you do sponsor someone, because it can jeopardize your clearance because of overfamiliarity. But that's the reason why we use the PO box. And that's the reason why we use first name and last initial only. This way, if you do go into an institution that you're sponsoring somebody, as long as you guys haven't been exchanging pictures or too much personal information you could actually be sitting next to each other and not even know who each other are. So that's the reason why we do those things. I hope I answered your question.
You did. Thank you for the clarity. Now I know what to share with those in my fellowship.
Hi, everybody. I'm an addict named Mary Ann, and I'm the Writing Steps in Recovery chairperson for the New England region. And many years ago, we did have an active committee with a number of people behind the wall who were participating in our program. And we currently only have one resident who has been writing like your experience, God, to the same sponsor outside for pretty close to like I think about 9 years, and he writes like every 2 weeks or so. And but we want to get the program back up and running again, and I'm gonna I saw how I could access the materials that were put up in the beginning, the letter, the introductory letter and stuff. And we have letters and everything and all ready to go. And we had revamped them and got everything all ready to go. And then COVID hit. And now we only go into the state prisons. We only offer the service to the state prisons because they found it was took too long a time to set up correspondence with somebody in a county facility because the sentences were too short, and lots of them were already out of the facility before we even could get something up and running. So we want to concentrate solely on the we want to concentrate solely on the state facilities. So what my it took so long time for me to get to my question. How did you initiate the program with the various facilities that you are going into? Did you go in and have a meeting with like the volunteer coordinator or et cetera? How did that come about?
So my name is Tony. I'm an addict. We work in collaboration with public relations, and the public relations chair reached out to facilities, our state prisons, the CRMs, the wardens, and gave a presentation on behalf of Narcotics Anonymous and Sponsorship Behind the Walls. And they were the liaison between H&I and the prison. And they helped us open that door. And then we implemented the Sponsorship Behind the Walls. And everything else has kind of been history. So working with public relations was a great asset for us.
Okay.
Hope I answered your question.
Kristen.
Hi, thank you so much for that presentation, to both of you. So my question, I guess, so one of the issues we've had, again, we had a defunct committee 4 or 5 years ago when I had stepped in. And again, letting the institutions know that we exist. How have you been able to get them to respond back? We continue to send out the same letters. We've been doing it every 4 months. What have you found that's been helpful for you all?
Sam, addict. So one of the things that we do is we send out to the main facility, and then like in Texas, we had a few issues like that. So what we did was our regional liaison went through and we found out the chaplain's name, and we attempted to send the letters directly to the chaplain, and we seem to have gotten some more response through the chaplains in some of our prisons by doing it that way.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
I think Carlos
Mike.
had a question, if we could get Tony to translate for him.
Quitar el mute. No te escuchamos.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Yo soy Carlos Zeta, soy un adicto. Me conecto de la región de Ecuador y soy miembro del panel virtual multinacional. Mi pregunta es si ustedes tienen ya elaborada alguna guía o pautas para este programa de apadrinamiento con las prisiones.
So Carlos is asking us if you have any guidelines or any paperwork that we could forward to him, have it at his disposal so that he could use, and he is from the Ecuador area.
Definitely. Amanda was on our website a while ago, and it has a little highlighted section that you can click on and get the guidelines and processes, and he's welcome to get them from there.
El miembro Amanda estuvo, tenía la página de web. En la página de web hay una link a donde está la información y las guías del padrinazgo tras las rejas. Amanda, would you like to put that link back up again so Carlos can see exactly where that information is?
Yep.
Te puso la página ahí de web, Carlos.
Ya.
Y te estaba enseñando las guías.
Yeah, look at the top right, has the,
¿Está traducida en español o no?
no,
Are they translated to
yeah,
Spanish?
see.
Sí, Carlos, si quieres, yo te puedo mandar las guías que tenemos acá en la área de habla España del norte de California. Si quieres, pon tu email en el chat y te las puedo enviar.
Muchas gracias.
I'm
Gracias.
letting Carlos know that we have
Thank you.
Spanish speaking guidelines from Northern California. He's going to put his email in the chat and I will go ahead and forward our to him.
We've got
Okay,
a couple
Carlos?
of bilingual sponsors, and so we, yeah, haven't gotten everything translated. But
Okay.
yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Okay.
Gracias.
Y cómo no, Carlos, a la orden.
Hey, Michael, did you have a question?
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm an addict. I wasn't able to listen to everything that was shared by the different HNI or PI or sponsorship behind the walls committees. This is a project that I wanted to get done in the East New York region in 2020, but then COVID hit and other things got put on my plate with the Zoom stuff. But my question is there any resources out there technologically that these committees or subcommittees are using to help, coordinate this stuff? My ideas were like, if I get a PO box for the East New York region and have these letters sent to the PO box, I could create like a website where I could scan them in and then deal with the sponsorship portion with people through an electronic means. Is there anybody doing any kind of stuff like that where that you scan the letters in and you have people type them on a website and then one person could like print them out and mail them, you know what I mean? Rather than individuals doing that
Make
stuff?
that an addict. So the way our zonal work group operates, because we are spread over 6 different states, is that the sponsee writes to the PO box in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So our postal coordinators, that's our only position that has to be local to Tulsa. Otherwise, our positions aren't geographically based, other than the regional liaisons are somewhere within their own region. But the postal coordinator collects the letters, scans them, emails them to the sponsor, and then the sponsor writes and snail mails a letter back into the sponsee. If it's somebody's first time corresponding with us, a potential sponsee, they've written to the PO box, that gets scanned by the postal coordinator, emailed to the sponsor communications coordinator, where Teresa showed that spreadsheet, that's the person on our work group that keeps track of that stuff and whether or not they've done their assignments or written back again, where in the process they are with getting a sponsor. So, but we only send it to 1 or 2 people, so that there's no, I'm not gonna say no, less of a risk of anonymity breach. I would, if you're gonna do something like a website, I'm not technologically savvy, but emails aren't the safest always, neither are websites. So I would just think about how to keep things secure, so that you aren't passing folks private or semi-private information on. We let the sponsee know, you know, the prison facility may look at your stuff and it gets passed through a couple hands in our work group to get to your sponsor. But yeah, that's how we navigate distance and technology.
I just want to add a little bit on that, Amanda. You are more than welcome tonight, a work group meeting, see how we do things and ask some questions of our sponsor communications coordinator or anyone else in that group for that matter.